York Attorney General Letitia James is now the subject of Department of Justice investigation over some of her real estate dealings. She's reportedly being accused of listing a home in Virginia as her primary residence and putting down her dad as her husband on the mortgage applications. Last month, the Federal Housing Finance Agency referred Letitia James for possible DOJ prosecution. Here's part of the statement. Based on media reports, Letitia James falsified bank documents and property records to acquire government-backed assistance and loans and more favorable loan terms. Well, Letitia James calls those allegations baseless. In fact, last night she was heckled about them at a town hall meeting. You got to see it.
How does it feel to know that you will be in prison for mortgage fraud?
Thank you for coming. We respect all opinions. Everybody knows those allegations are baseless. They're discredited.
There's just something about yelling at the American voter that just rings hollow. She'll see. Letitia James has hired high-profile attorney Abby Lowell to defend her, and she says she will keep fighting.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side, and the one institution that has stood by our side is the courts. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.
Well, everybody in the room will, but will she? She's got Abby Lowell. What can you tell me?
So the louder a defendant gets and the less substance there is when they're yelling, the better the chance are that they're in deep trouble. If you notice, none of her denials ever speak to the substance of the allegations, okay? The problem for her is that this is a document case, all right? This is not going to be based upon a witness or something like that. It could be at some point, but right now, they have two documents that she signed that are notarized that very clearly say, I intend to live in Virginia as my principal residence. She's got more than one house in Virginia, from what I understand. Who's living there? Are the rents being reported? These are all going to be investigated, et cetera. She's also got the building here in Brooklyn, which she has consistently listed when she goes for the mortgages, and the thing has been remortgaged a number of times as 4 residences. However, the Department of Buildings lists the certificate of occupancy, which is the defining document, throughout the entire history of that building as 5 residences. Why does that matter? Because coincidentally, above 4, 5 and above, you're a commercial establishment and your mortgage is higher. So this is where they're going. They're going to pull all the documents. And the reason this is they've opened a grand jury. Now they have subpoena power, and that's got to be making her nervous.
Y'all, I have an update. I have an update for you. Do you guys remember that video I did where I covered New York Attorney General Big Tish James, Big Back James? Yeah, you know, this was the I'm gonna get Trump no matter what, queen with a K. She was queen of the legal theatrics. Ran her whole campaign on that. But now we have an update. It looks like she may be the one that's gonna need some strong with a K, legal representation very, very soon. So, bring you up to speed, in the last video that I did, I reviewed the actual referral and all of the attached exhibits that showed just some of the mortgage papers that seemed to look like Tish did what they are accusing her of doing. Well, same time, here to report now that the receipts are starting to roll in, and now we've got to talk about it. So let me give you an update. According to multiple breaking news reports, including Times Union and the Associated Press, Letitia James is now under federal investigation for potential mortgage fraud. This is the woman who made it her life's mission to get Trump. And, you know, it's something about when you make your life's mission surrounded on the downfall of another person without warrant, that's not good. But for her, what are the allegations? Well, they are alleging that she may have misrepresented her primary residence, which is supposed to be in the state of New York. In order to be the attorney general, you got to be a resident of New York. But they're saying that she may have misrepresented that in order to secure more favorable terms on a mortgage on a property in another state, specifically a property in the state of Virginia. And so while the argument is this, she maintained her actual residence in New York. However, on paper, on the application, in order to get more favorable terms, she was like, this is unoccupied, right? So yes, that is a little shady and it is illegal. I'm not saying it never happens, but it is what it is. Like, you can't tell the feds one thing, the bank something else, and then expect to stay clean. That's not how it works. Many of you may not know, I worked in the insurance industry for 11 years. And we would get people, particularly when I was on the sales side of the industry, we would get people who would come in and just lie through their teeth to us and tell us that this new property that they acquired was going to be owner occupied. I'm like, do you forget that we insure your primary residence? I'm like, so you moving? And what I would do, I had this way of kind of pulling the truth out of them. I was just really good at it. Very conversational. These people would think that I was their best friend. And listen, it wasn't that I wasn't their best friend. They were my insureds. But my job is to keep you honest and to protect the asset, which is the house, and to make sure that we are writing the insurance on the property in accordance with the policy, right? And so these people would always slip up and give us these little clues that they were lying. And I would do it when I'm taking the application. I'd be like, oh, okay, well, go ahead and give me, what's your mailing address? And sometimes without thinking, they'd give me the address to the primary residence as their mailing address. And I wouldn't say no, and I'd just make a little mental note. I'm like, I thought this was a rental property. And then sometimes I would switch up and be like, so have you found the tenant yet? And then they realize and catch themselves, and I wouldn't even say nothing. I just keep taking the application. What I would do ultimately is, once I would gather enough information that I'm like, somebody lying and you not about to think I'm boo-boo the fool, I would just refer those applications to the SIU unit. That was the Special Investigations Unit. And that unit was specifically charged with the role of investigating these types of referrals to determine, well, the facts is they're trying to save the insurance company money. Insurance fraud is not cool. And so if we've written a policy and we find out that the insured has misrepresented, and such as in a case like determine that the property, SIU would go and investigate, see if there's a tenant in it, see if you ever move in. Sometimes they let you go 6-7 months just so they could build a case to prove that, all right, one or two things is going to happen. We're about to non-renew you, or we're going to flat cancel the policy as if it never happened because you lied, or then go after you if a claim was paid. Like, they would have all of these ways that they would recoup their money. And so if you misrepresented how the property was used, and therefore it's material misrepresentation on the app, insurance companies like, we're not insuring it. So that's why they would get non-renewed or canceled. So Tish might have a number of other problems in addition to the mortgage issue, because depending on what she told the insurance company, that's going to put her in a whole, she's going to have more problems. So it doesn't just stop there. But apparently there is this other issue with the Brooklyn property that she owns. Reports say that she described it as a 4-unit on official documents when it's actually 5 units, which, for those of you who may not know, that makes a huge difference when you're applying for loans. You get qualified for different mortgage rates. You get classified differently from an insurance perspective. There are all of these things. You're dipping, you commercial now, right? So let's break this down for all the folks in the back. Misrepresenting unit count, misrepresenting primary residence versus rental property, all of this equals mortgage fraud, insurance fraud, or both. And this is not monopoly money that we're talking about. This was federal level fraud. And so it's now being reported that subpoenas have been issued to the mortgage and the insurance companies. So that basically means investigators, they're pulling the receipts. They're like, they want the mortgage companies and the insurance companies to pull the application and all of the supporting documents that were a part of the loan package and the insurance app. And they about to go through that bad boy with a fine-tooth comb. And so for this woman who swore that she was, on this holy crusade to defend justice and that nobody's above the law, now she's dealing with this. So what I want you guys to do, let's take a look. Sorry, Ryan, you got to go. Let's take a look at what this woman actually had to say.
They're claiming that I engaged in mortgage fraud, that I somehow decided that I was a resident of Virginia, which would be some commute every morning to the office at 28 Liberty. But somehow what I did was basically similar to what Donald Trump engaged in. And there's just no comparison. The allegations against me are totally baseless.
It just seems to me so incredibly dumb that it's hard to believe, right? That the sitting attorney general of New York would list her principal residence in Virginia, knowing that she's stepping into a beehive, right? I mean, a hornet's nest, whatever you want to call it, with regard to Trump. I mean, I guess I'm not quite yet giving her the benefit of the doubt because it seems to me so ridiculous that you would think you could get away with that.
Look, I don't know what her intention was when she signed that power of attorney claiming that this home in Virginia was going to be her principal residence. But, everything happens in context, right, Dan? I mean, the context of that document, it's 2023. Joe Biden is the president. 2023, it's in her mind, Joe Biden is going to be reelected president, and she's doing all that she can in 2023 to prevent Donald J. Trump from being elected president. So, and it's in Virginia. Who's going to be looking at this document? Who's going to be even aware that she's buying this home in Virginia? So, again, I don't know what her intentions were, but I'm pointing to the atmospherics that surrounded, her conduct in 2023. If she indeed did sign that power of attorney, which it looks like she did, where she attested that this was going to be her personal residence, perhaps she thought that it was never going to.
They're claiming.
Oh, I think I played that one already. Yeah. Well, listen. So she's denying kind of sort of any wrongdoing. In other clips, she has gone on record saying that this is politically motivated. And I'm like, okay, so now it's political, ma'am. Is that your argument? Because we keep hearing her say, it's baseless. And baseless is legal jargon for I'm really not prepared to answer this. I'm not admitting or denying. I'm just saying that the claims, the allegations against me are baseless, which is I got to buy myself some time. Okay?
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side, and the one institution that has stood by our side is the courts. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.
So here's the deal, though. This woman has been throwing legal spaghetti at the wall, trying to catch Donald Trump on something for years. And now she wants to cry foul when the boomerang is hitting her in her big head. Like, are you kidding me? Are we serious? Here's what Letitia James, she has gone on record saying that this is all political retaliation because I went after Donald Trump. And I'm like, sis, okay, you might be able to make an argument about that, but this ain't really about Trump. This is about you allegedly lying on legal documents, and the federal government isn't known for letting that slide. How we know? Ask Martha Stewart. But since you brought it up, right? Perhaps if she would have just kept her side of the street clean and did the bidding while she was doing the bidding of the Democrat Party, perhaps she wouldn't be in this situation. I'm telling you, if 2023, if the sock puppet Joe Biden is in office with his not so smart Queen with the K, VP Kamala Harris is in power, I'm telling you, this woman did not think this was going to come back to bite her, because she, in her mind, is, I'm putting this nail in the coffin. Donald Trump ain't gonna get back in the White House. My people gonna be in charge. I do what I want to do. I'm the big dog, right? I'm the big dog in the city. I'm Queen of New York. And I'm like, well, the only problem with that is you didn't really think ahead, because see what Tish allowed, she let them use her. I'm like, they used you, boo. And you thought that you were untouchable because you thought either Joe Biden was going to win the election or that Kamala Harris would be the next president. Either way, guess what, boo? It was too big to rig, and neither of those things became a reality. And now you got to eat this. You got to eat this. And so word is she has retained the same attorney that Joe Biden used. Her lawyer is now trying to claim that the errors were, this is a clerical error. Surely you jest. I'm like, oh, really? So you just accidentally signed the paperwork saying you live somewhere that you don't? I do that all the time, right? That's not a typo. That is fraud with a capital F. And not just that, it's also true that on multiple documents, allegedly, she claimed to be her father's wife. And that's not even recent. Now, that is old. They went digging through the crates for that. But a good attorney was going to be like, this woman she's got a history of just lying and materially misrepresenting facts that are objective truth claims in order to get for things to work to her advantage, right? Claiming that you're your father's wife, that's just nasty. Okay, was that a clerical error too? Huh? Was the wife box and the daughter box just close together? I don't know. I have questions. But here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the double standard, right? Because if a Republican attorney general or a conservative Christian, anybody, had even been accused of doing this, the media would have a camera camped outside their house 24/7. You know I'm right? We would never hear the end of it. It'd be all day, just like all day. But TT, Big Tish with the big back, you get crickets from CNN, crickets from MSNBC, 60 Minutes. Everybody's silent. Everybody is silent. And my question is, when have we seen this before? Right? Can we say, Fonnie Willis? This is what happens when political ambition outpaces integrity. These women are not good people, and they were uniquely positioned and chosen because they ain't good people. They're evil, and their agenda is evil. That's why they were chosen. Tish James is the same woman who tried to destroy a man's life over property valuations and take everything that man has ever worked for. And now she is caught in a web of real estate lies herself. And her claims against Donald Trump, they were so far-fetched. Like, you had to squint real hard and turn your head and get a magnifying glass just to kind of see what they were going after him. You're like, okay, I don't think this really has the legal merit they're claiming it does. Like, who's ever prosecuted something like this before? Nobody. But now all of a sudden, people want to make this partisan. Listen, for the left, this has always been about partisanship. It's always been that. But since we are on that point, we might as well go ahead and make it about the hypocrisy of using the justice system as a weapon while thinking you're above the law. It doesn't feel good now, does it? Huh? And it feel good? No, it don't feel good. This should never have been the American way. But these little freak nasty Democrats, they started it. So now here we are. The same system that they twisted and tried to manipulate to destroy others, now It's been turned on you. And that, my friends, is the providence of God exposing what's done in the dark and bringing it to the light. That's what that is. And so as much as I enjoy providing this update, we still have to, we still have to examine the biblical perspective of all of this. And so let's take a look at Proverbs 11:3. The integrity of the upright guides them, but the crookedness of the treacherous destroys them. That's Proverbs 11, verse 3. Listen, Letitia James is finding out that when you operate without integrity, even your allies may not save you. Biden can't save you now, boo-boo, because Biden don't even know what he ate this morning for breakfast. Okay? He don't know whether he coming or going. So he can't save you. And Kamala acting like she don't even know you. So the government that props you up today, they may prosecute you tomorrow. And you can't be surprised when you turn and look around and there's nobody there to have your back. You see what they did to Fonnie Willis? They like, Fonnie Woo? Who called? No, we don't know no Willis. We gave it the office. They've disavowed Fonnie Willis. Ain't nobody there trying to save her, and they ain't gonna save Letitia James either. She on her own with this one. So the biblical admonition is, as believers, y'all, we are called to pursue justice, but not the kind that's manipulated, redefined, and repackaged for political gain. That's what we've been watching for the last 4 years. Real justice flows from truth, not vendettas. It was wrong what they did to Donald Trump. You ain't got to like him, but this is how he won the election, because people were like, yo, this is wild. Like, they are really working overtime to just make up some stuff. Just like I said, throwing spaghetti on the wall. Like, is it going to stick? Is it going to stick? Is there enough starch on that spaghetti to make it stick? Mm-mm. They were just looking for a reason to keep this man out of office. And now look at them. One by one, they all dropping like flies. Fonnie Willis is still in the hot seat. Now Big Tish with the big back James, she in the hot seat too. So I'm gonna leave you guys with this. Be careful when you dig a ditch for someone else, because you might just fall into the same ditch yourself. And so there was nothing really provocative about this, just a little bit of word of encouragement and wisdom. But if you enjoyed this breakdown, shared a little bit about, my experience in the insurance industry. This is not looking good. If she consistently misrepresented on that mortgage application in order to get the favorable insurance terms, it is possible that she finagled and answered erroneously on the insurance app too, which is why the subpoenas are going out. And so I'll be watching this and giving you guys an update as we learn more information. But if you guys enjoyed this breakdown, consider liking and subscribing to the channel, right? If you enjoyed it and you are always looking for more bold and biblical and unapologetic commentary, do not forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And consider even sharing my videos with your audience. And above all else, y'all, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Well, I would love to respond to all of them. I just sometimes I do like seeing y'all argue back and forth in the comment section. It's quite entertaining. But hopefully I was able to give you guys some insight as to what's going on with Tish Big Back James. And we'll be following this story a little bit more closely.